Hi there. Important question. What price will Disney pay for FuboTV? As you probably know, when Disney and FuboTV announced that merger between the two companies, the stock price went up over 200%, close to 300%. And then, from that peak, the stock price has declined by over 46%, close to 50%. So what price will Disney pay for FuboTV? This is the most important question, because you might want to take advantage as the stock price has declined so much. So back then, the market cap of FuboTV went from 400 million to 1.7 billion. And then down to 1 billion. Now the current market cap is about 973 million. So how can you predict what price Disney will pay for FuboTV? Because in their deal, the latest press release, they didn't announce any price. They only said that they will take a 70% stake in FuboTV. If you go back, you read the press release, you can see here. Disney to combine its Hulu plus live TV business with Fubo. Right? You see here. And then they said that Disney will own approximately 70% of FuboTV. And of course, they combine those two streaming platforms, in fact, free streaming platforms, and they will form a new company. And besides this, Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers will provide 220 million cash infusion in the new company. Plus, Disney will offer a 145 million term loan in 2026. And in case the deal fails, Disney will pay 130 million termination fee to FuboTV. Of course, there are other rumors that the deals may not pass, because as you can see here, Senator Elizabeth Warren has urged the US Department of Justice to investigate the deal, citing antitrust concerns. Now, as the Democratic Party is no longer in power, and we have Republicans, this might not be such a big problem, but we have to be aware, just to be aware. And of course, this new merger is pending regulatory and shareholder approval. Once they get that approval, the deal will be signed. They expect that deal in the first half of 2026. And be aware of this term, in the first half of 2026. May not happen in the first half, maybe in the second half of 2026, but be aware of this term. Because the stock price went up so much, over 300%, and then it went down. Why do you think it went down? Because if we wait 1 year, close 2 years, till 2026, there is too much time. I mean, you could have invested your money in something else in 2025 and then go back to FuboTV, because the market participants don't like to wait. But if you have the patience, you can take advantage, especially at the lowest point. Right now, or maybe later, if the stock price goes down even more. So that's why the stock price went down, because of this longer period till the merger gets through, and also because of the decline in the entire market. Now, let's answer the most important question. How much will Disney pay for FuboTV? As they announce no price, we have to predict it based on related acquisitions. For instance, Disney acquisition of Hulu, 33% stake, they paid a price to earnings around 2.3, 2.5. And of course, the entire revenue was about 27 billion. Then another acquisition, Fox acquisition of Tubi, price to sales between 3 and 4. Viacom merger, 2 and 3, price to sales. Disney investment Epic Games, of course this is not related, but it's in the same range, entertainment, so 2 and 3. And Walmart acquisition of Vizio. They paid 1.4 times revenue. So, when you look at those related acquisitions in this industry, You may come up with your own estimate for FuboTV, right? As the multiple is between 2 and 3, you may assume that Disney will pay a multiple, price to sales around 2, right? And then you ask yourself, what is the revenue of FuboTV? 1.6 billion. And if you apply a multiple of 2, you have 3.2 billion. The price that Disney may pay, right? 3.2 billion. But be aware that they'll own 70% of Fubo. So you have to do 70% of 3 billion. And if you do the math, here, 70%, that will be 2.2 billion. The price Disney may pay for FuboTV, that 70% stake in the new company, 2.2 billion. Now you also have to be aware that Disney also announced some financial terms. 220 million cash payment from Disney, 145 million term loan, and of course the termination fee you don't take into account for the moment. So you also have to subtract those cash payments and term loan, because maybe the value is about 2.2 billion, the price they will pay. But if you also subtract the cash payment and the loan, term loan of 145 million, the price of the deal may be lower, may be reduced. So you have to be cautious. And if you do the math, subtract those cash payments and term loan, the final value, the price Disney may pay, may be around 1.8 billion at the low end. Of course, if the multiple goes to 3, because if you look at the growth rate of FuboTV in the revenue from 2023 to 2024 was about 20%. So they may pay a higher multiple, 3 for example. And then the price may be higher than 1.8 billion. If you want to be conservative, let's assume that the price may start from this level, 1.8 billion. And now you compare 1.8 billion with the current market cap of 900 million, you have a double, right? 9 plus 9, 18. So you have a potential double from this level. Now, is this all? Because if you look at Fubo, at their growth rate over the years, you see revenue has increased from 1 billion to 1.6 billion, and their losses have decreased. So in the future, the value of this company will grow even more. Because for the moment, they have 1.7 million paid subscribers. If you ask yourself, what's the market share? How large is their market size? You can see that it's quite high. There are over 180 million sports fans in the US, only in the US. And they reported this number, paid subscribers in the US and Canada. And if you look only at the US, 180 million sports fans, those people may want to buy a Fubo subscription. And if Fubo gets only 10% market share, Fubo can get between 10 and 20 million subscribers. And as now they have 1.7 million paid subscribers, you do the math, from 1.7 to 10 or 20, you have approximately 10x in their subscribers, paid subscribers. And if you have 10x here, you also have 10x in their subscription revenue, which represents the largest part of the revenue. So the revenue might go 10x in the next 5 to 10 years. This is the potential of FuboTV, especially if the revenue grows and their losses goes down. So the value of this company will continue to grow. And by the way, Disney will own 70% of Fubo, and the other 30% will be owned by Fubo shareholders. So how much can you get from this deal? As I said, first, if Disney pays 1.8 billion, you can have a double. If the deal fails of course, the stock price will go down in the short term. Maybe in the long term, it will rebound as they have high potential, a high market size. And you also have to be aware that the deal will require time. Because as you can see, the expected closure of this deal is in the first half of 2026. And some people don't want to wait so much because maybe they'll face some investigations from the US Department of Justice, and this time may be longer. Maybe it will happen in the second part of 2026, and you have 2 years to wait till you get a double. Some people prefer to invest in other stocks or short the market in 1 year and make more money. But to have a double in the next 2 years, that will be quite great. Quite great. But of course, there is also risk. As I said, if the deal fails, the stock price will go down a lot. And then if the deal fails, the stock price goes down back to $1, then you have to ask yourself what will happen with FuboTV. Again, you have to assess the future of FuboTV, do the same thing as I did, see their market potential, how large is the market size, and then try to predict how much money they will make and what are their costs. So that's another analysis. So from this level, to sum up, from this level, you can have a double if the deal gets through, because Disney may pay 1.8 billion for that stake, 70% stake, or even more if you are lucky. So you may have more than a double. If the deal fails, then that will be bad in the short term. That's why you have to know how to position yourself, size your investment. Now, if you put a gun to my head and ask me what price I will pay for this stock, FuboTV, then the answer is available for members. If you want to know it, you can go to my profile, press join, scroll down and choose the level you want and press join. And by the way, do this from an Android or laptop to avoid extra fees from Apple. And if you want more investment ideas with low risk and high return, more than a double, then you can join my Titan Investor, where you can have access to my portfolio and an investing course from zero to expert that will teach you how to take advantage of those low valuations, of those companies that may deliver high returns in the future. So that's it for this video, and if you have other questions, please let me know in the comments.